Good morning. I just, poor Lindsay just started it. I said, here's Johnny. Okay, good morning. I'm Janet, and I'm going to do one of my favorite things, which is my ironing mat. First of all, this is Jill's fabric of this and that, and I made one out of some leftovers. And here is my mat, and I've got kits. Is this the cutest thing you ever saw? Ironing little clothespin things, and the binding is going to be irons. How cute is that? I was walking upstairs in my stash, which I have quite a stash on the way on the landing. I saw this and I thought, okay, we're going to have kits, because this is not, you can't get this anymore. So I thought that was so cute. So what you want to do is, Bonash comes in this big, it's my favorite. I did try another brand, it didn't work well. I get the big one because you can get a couple different things out of it. It's self-adhesive, no elastic, no strings, and you get this big baby, and it's awesome. And then what I use is, and that comes 65 by 29. Then the Insul fleece is 39 by 22 and a half. That's how it comes. And I cut you a piece, and Lindsay does actually. Then my favorite batting is Winline. I have cotton batting. It's just amazing. You could just like lay in it. It's awesome. Then you need a 110 18 ballpoint needle when you're making these lines because it's thick. And when you're making like the binding, I use 80-12, and of course you need a walking foot. Okay, so what I do first, let me set this aside. Is you're going to take your flex foam. Let me get this out of the way, guys. And because it's fusible on both sides, which is absolutely awesome, all you have to do is iron it on your flex foam. So all I did was iron this on here. So it's going to be nice and flat. And so when you're doing your lines, it's going to be perfect, which is awesome. So you've got everything all cut exactly how you have it. So I have the Bonash sticky back cut 20 by 39, which is this. I have the Insul fleece cut 20 by 39, and this is going to be, you can copy, this is on the Facebook Live. The cotton batting is 20 by 39, and the flex foam is cut 20 by 39, and it's two-sided fusible. And your fabric, of course, is 20 by 39. I'm sorry I got ahead of myself. I get excited, you know me. So once again, you take your flex foam and you iron your fabric on top. Okay? So you're going to sandwich this all together. This is my leftover from Bonash. When you're done doing your job, you're going to have all this leftover. And that's what I'm making this out of. Okay? So you've got all this leftover. So if you do applique, you can have this long little applique. If you're doing like vines and all this stuff, you can make your own little more ironing mats. It's awesome. This stuff is the bomb. I've used it for years. And I do a lot of ironing. I do more than the average person that ever irons. Okay? So once you have that on, so you have your fabric, your flex foam, then you have your cotton batting, then you have your Bonash. Okay, the Bonash, what the deal is that, it is sticky. Plus it's got this little bit of foam, okay, when you peel it, underneath it. So I started in the corner on top of my Insul fleece, okay. Get this off. It actually works better if you have another person helping you, but that isn't always the way it is. So what you do is you peel it, and then as you peel it, of course you start in the corner, and I started for you already, so you don't have to watch me do it. So I just peel it and I make sure that it's down nice and tight. Okay, of course it's going to stick on stuff because it's sticky. Oh, I love this stuff so much. They just thought everything out amazing. And it lasts. If I can have one last me close to a year, I make many of these at a time because I have one upstairs, downstairs. I take one in my suitcase. I just love them. Like I said, I've tried all the other ones. The top, I don't like them at all. This is the best stuff in the whole wide world. So this is just the extra. I'm just going to make another one out of the extra. I just think it's so dang cute. But the one I take on the road, I hate the ironing boards they have in the room. I don't care if you're at the Hilton. I don't care if you're at the Hyatt. I don't care where you're at. They always have sucky ironing boards. So I just take my mat, have one in my suitcase. I always have to iron my clothes. And it goes on just as slick as it can get. This doesn't take long to make. It's just, once you make one, it's like you just can't. You make a bunch of them. I do. I just like having them. I hate not having an ironing mat. Then you want to measure to see how long it is. So this is 22. And you add about 8 1/4. That would be 30. Okay. So half of that would be basically 15 and a titch. So I always start out at the center. I'll just give it a little extra because of the titch. Make sure that you put your name in, and I'm giving away a free kit. It's worth $50 with all this stuff in it. And comment, please. And then you can get a free kit. Okay, start out at the center. I always do. Give it a titch. What am I start again? I think I didn't start right. You gotta wait till it dries. If you've ever seen me at a show, I've marked this whole thing up so many times it looks pretty bad. And everybody like goes, "Oh my gosh, you're marking on your thing." And I go, "Yes, I am." Let me go a little over this way. By the time I cut it off, it's going to be right at about 30 anyways. I gotta think ahead. But when I'm making the other one, I like to make it much longer, because if I'm doing like a long line of stuff, I like to have a longer one. That's why I make it the 39 inches long, because I like it longer. Or if I have it in the hotel, I wanted to do my clothes, I just set it on the table. I usually bring my own iron too.
Someone wants to know where you buy the Bonash giant ironing board cover.
I get it at a wholesale place. I don't know where you get it any other place. Actually, that's why I tried something else, is because I couldn't find it. Or I buy it at shows when I'm at a show. And that's how I discovered it, is somebody came up and said, try this. And I thought, oh, it's going to be nothing exciting. It was exciting. And that's how I discovered it, was somebody came up from Bonash and said, you got to try this. And I thought it was the slickest stuff that I've ever tried in my life. And that's how I started with Bonash. And we've had a love ever since, because it was the best ironing stuff I've ever used. It's kind of like when I did hair, I only used Italian colors, because I'm pretty picky with what I use on my hair, shampoos, anything. And when I find something that works, I keep using it. And that's where I found Bonash. Somebody at a show and they just said, try it out. And I thought, rock and roll. And I've used it ever since.
What measurements are you marking on the...
I'm measuring from center out to out so I can do lines like this, so that when you're ironing, it doesn't drive you nuts. And I like it to be, it makes it more foldable when you're on the road. Plus, I think it looks cute. It's got to look cute, you guys. But that's what I've done for so many years, and I think it just looks good. And it makes it hold together better, like when you're putting on the binding and stuff. And I just sew all the way down through all the layers. Make sure when you do that, you have a 110, it says right on here, the 110 18 ballpoint needle, so it can go through all the layers. Have to have a walking foot. Oh my gosh. Make sure you use cotton thread. If you use polyester, it will melt. Have to have cotton thread. It's kind of like when you make those potato bags. I made those one year for Christmas. Have to have cotton thread, especially if you put them in the microwave. Otherwise, it'll melt.
Where's your favorite place to get cotton thread?
I get cotton thread. I really like Aurifil. I use Aurifil a lot. That's probably my favorite thread. My second favorite would be, my mind just went blank as a rock. Oh, it'll come to me. I've got it here somewhere. In fact, it's right here. Hang on. Gutermann. Gutermann's my second. And sometimes one works better with the other. Okay, so then you just put this on top of here.
50 or 40 weight?
I use 50. Okay, then I love these little clippies, especially when you're going through all of this. Oh my gosh, this is hard to pin through. But Aurifil is my favorite, especially they have awesome colors. And all I do is put this all together, sandwich it. Make sure you get all the layers together. I have longer ones, and I think I took them upstairs last night when I was finishing stuff up. In fact, I know I did. But once you make one of these, oh my gosh, it is the bomb. Like if you go to classes and stuff like that, it is awesome. Or you do what I do. I travel so much. It's wonderful. And I've been asked forever to do this tutorial, and it's so simple. And if I can have one last me, I'm like excited, you know. And I only change them maybe once a year, sometimes every 6 months, it depends. Last year I did a whole lot of shows that lasted me about 6 months, but I did like 26 shows. And that's a lot of ironing. I do a lot of demos a day. Then what you do is you just go on your machine. I make the stitch length longer also, because I unplug this little baby. I make it longer because it's going to take more. Hang on, I unplugged it. Effort to go through all these layers and take your time. I start out in the middle and go end to end. And because it's fused on the back, it's awesome. With the ironing, it's wonderful. And I move the stitch length up to about a 3.5. And just go slow because it's a lot to go through. And once again, make sure you use your walking foot, because this baby isn't going to work otherwise. Oop, I better move my soda or I won't have any in here. It will be gone.
What shows are you attending this year?
I'm going to be going to Atlanta. I think it's March, what is it, Lindsay? 7th, 8th?
I can post them.
Yeah, she's going to post them. I do a lot. I think I'm doing all F&W, or which is original sewing and quilting. And that's all I'm doing for the rest of the year. So you sew all the way down through here. You guys don't have to watch me sew. All through the layers, like this, on this one. Then you cut it to the length, just a little thread here. So you cut it so the finished size is 19.5 by 37. Then I just did my new binding, the mini point scallop, and then this. And I've shown you how to do that many, many, many times. If you'd like me to show you again, I sure can. All you have to do is take two pieces of fabric right sides together. And I've gotten smarter, everybody. I tell you the size of the piece of fabric. It's 4 1/4. You place this on top. Add on length at a 45-degree angle, not on the bias. Selvage is like you're binding. Trace around your ruler. Mark your end points, mark your centers. Then every 4th hump I put a pin so your fabric doesn't shift, because that drives me crazy. Drop your stitch length to a 2. Use your 1/4 inch foot. This is my 1/4 inch foot guide. There's my sew line. When you get down to your end points, which are this, you want to come down, stop, pivot, do 1 stitch across, 1 stitch across, 1 stitch across. Once again, anytime you have a deep V, you need 1 stitch across to have space to turn. And you want to make sure you enclose the ends so there are no raw edges, because you're going to start in a corner and end in a corner. Then when you're doing my mini points, you want to come down, stop, pivot, do 1 stitch across, 1 stitch across, 1 stitch across, 1 stitch across. Anytime you have a deep V, you need 1 stitch across. Remember, Grandma will slap you. I deserved it more than that way. Just saying. Then you want to cut it 1/8 of an inch from your sew line, like you do when you applique, to get rid of all that extra fabric you don't need. Make sure you comment. I'm giving away a $50, $49.99 kit with everything you need to make this. It is cute. It's got clothespins on the back. And it's got little irons on the front for the binding. It is just adorable. So make sure you comment. Then you cut through 1 layer only, or you'll have 2 halves and bye-bye binding. Then I have this little tool called the pusher. Use a little spray starch. Make sure you get the right to the edge right there. And then you can iron on it. It's made out of heat-resistant Macrolon. You can iron on it. This one fits all sizes because of the shape. Fold it in half, and this is going to be your binding. We use a friction gun, of course, it all comes off. And you start in a corner, end in a corner, and this is going to be your binding. And is that the cutest thing you've ever seen? We have clothespins and we have irons. Then the other 3 corners, all you have to do is miter it. It doesn't matter where you end up. And make sure that you use your walking foot when you do this. You're going to start and stop in the corner. so cute. And if it's too long, all you have to do is put right sides together. Sew it, cut it, turn it. It'll look just like this all over again because all that is horizontally sewn. I do nothing hard. But when you're done, you're going to have a cute, darling ironing mat, and this is done. This one's done with the leftovers, and this one's done exactly with the length how I wanted it. So, has everybody got their names in for the drawing? And the winner is Jody Green. So Jody, make sure you email Lindsay your information and she will send you a kit for this darling ironing mat. Thank you for watching and God bless, and we'll see you next week at 10. What, honey?